Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dental Handoff. I'm Dr. Kelly Tanner, and today I have an extraordinary guest, Sherrie Busby. Sherrie, you are a dental assisting just extraordinaire. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you have so much insight and experience in the profession. You're doing so much to touch lives. We always ask first, why dentistry for you? Like, what drew you to it? Did it choose you? Did you choose it?
I think that it chose me because when I was young, and this is like, holy cow, I'm going to out myself 40 plus years ago. I was a single mom and I needed a job. So I was going to school and through the resources from the school you could be like a medical assistant or something like that. I needed something quick, right? So I went through a technical college. And so as I got into the medical assisting, I'm like, oh, I don't know that I like this, right? So there's like, well, let's go try dentistry. I fell in love right that moment. I did. It was just a natural calling for me. And so I got a job in a dental office when I first started school. And that was so helpful because the things I learned in school, I implemented into the office very quickly. And then a lot of things we would have not covered in school that I would be like, oh, I did that last week in the office. And so now it made a whole lot more sense for me.
Yeah.
So I think it's just been a fall in love. I fell in love. That's what I did. I fell in love with dentistry.
Oh, I think that's how a lot of people would describe it.
I know, right?
Really, because and that's why I asked the question like that. Did it find you? Were you just kind of drawn to it because and then even people in different parts of the profession, you've probably heard this because, you speak on the circuit and you're speaking a lot of places. People will try to get out of dentistry, like in corporate, where they'll be in sales or whatever, and they go to ophthalmology or something. They're like, "No, I had to come back to dentistry. That was my home."
Right? Because it's like you either love it or you hate it. There's no middle ground, right? And it's funny because mid-career, I had an opportunity to buy a staffing company. Like I did a franchise of staffing, and I really did the staffing because I wanted to be a trainer. Like that's what my ultimate goal. So I thought, well, if I start doing staffing, then maybe I can work this into this training thing. And so I'm doing all these interviews in like Starbucks or McDonald's or wherever, right? I'm doing these Starbucks, and they're like, well, how will we know each other? I'm like, baby, we just know. We do. There's something about people who love dentistry. We're so drawn to each other all the time.
Yes.
And it's just one of those things. You love
Being
it or you
around
hate
your
it.
people, being around your people. I went to,
Right?
yeah, so many people don't know this, and I don't talk about this very often, but there was a time when after I started a dental hygiene program here in Williamsburg, Virginia, that I was in the hygiene program, and the president of the college asked me to do the whole accreditation for the college, for the entire college. So it's like CODA, but it's
You
like
go,
SAT
girl.
POC. But the point is that I went to these conferences for this accreditation. I'm like, where are my dental people? I mean, it was just so weird. I was like, these people are really uptight. I don't even know what I'm supposed
Right?
to do here. Can I laugh? It was so funny, but it was such a contrast. And so when you're home, it feels like home.
It does. It feels like home, and it doesn't matter. In my career, I have been into hundreds of dental offices. And every time you walk in the door, you're home. You may
Yeah.
not know those people, but it's just a feeling of that. And people I know who do medical things like that, they're speakers or whatever, they don't have that. They're like, what are you talking about? You're in a place you've never been before. How can you feel like that this is home? But it is. And it's because I think one of the things that makes it feel that way, that dentistry is dentistry, no matter where you are. A
Yeah.
filling's a filling's a filling, right? A, a 4910's a 4910, no matter where you are, right? It
Right.
doesn't matter. And because there's that consistency through the profession, it helps you to feel like this is home. So
That's true.
I don't
That's
know.
that's true. And I mean, so you have like you have like a baseline, and then there's different flavors
Right,
of
right. So
how the
everybody's vanilla, and then they got this sprinkle and that chocolate syrup or whatever, but we're all the same. And I think that's what makes it so comfortable and gives you that feeling, because I may not know that this doctor wants this instrument at this certain time, but I know he's going to want that instrument. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
when you're placing a filling, you're going to condense. You're just going to do it, right? So you may not do it at different times, but I know that that's what's going to happen. So it because of the consistency of the profession, um, it does lend to that, and that's what makes it fairly easy for us to relocate, if you will, or
Yeah.
move between practices, because your skill is your skill is your skill. And that's one of the ways that it can help it. And I know we were talking just a minute ago, and you probably need to ask this question, but I think that because of that, we tend to not want to, we tend to not feel like we need to know more.
Mm. But yeah, because we show up, we know we have the skill set to do what we do, to perform at a certain level, and we can just just stay there
Right.
if we
Just
wanted
stay there and
to.
be comfortable and
Yeah.
be comfortable with that. Like, you don't have to move. So anyway, that was a long explanation there.
No, but when we do that, it's comfortable. It's
Yeah.
comfortable. We can show up. We can. It's kind of like when you drive to work and you when you wake up, not wake up, but you wake up from your trance of driving, and you're going, "Oh, I'm already there." That
Right.
can be how your day is if you let it be that way.
Yeah, it can. And you can choose that. I mean, there's lots of people who like to be on autopilot all the time. I don't have fault of that. And sometimes I feel like, golly gee, why can't I just be okay with that? You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
personally, I'm not. I want to push the envelope. I want to be better than I was yesterday. I want to have that desire, if you will. And
yeah,
I find that it helped me to be a better person. It helps me to be a better clinician all around. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. So how did you, Sherry, when you figured that out about yourself, that you wanted to grow, that you wanted not more, but that you maybe didn't want to be on autopilot all the time, that you had a love that you wanted to nurture and that you wanted to grow in that profession. What were some of your first steps that you took to ed you in that direction that were uncomfortable probably?
oh yeah. I mean, growth is always uncomfortable, no matter where you're growing at. It's uncomfortable, right? But I think that many years ago, I had a mentor. And the best advice that I ever got was to always be thirsty.
Mm,
Always be thirsty. Always seek out things that you want to know. Always be curious. One of the things that makes children, little small children, so delightful to be around is that they're so curious. They
so
just
true.
want to know things, right? And so I think that having, embracing that childlike curiosity can do you well in life, and everything. So one of the steps that I started taking was I started seeking out education. Keep in mind now, I've been in dentistry for over 40 years. And when I started in dentistry, seeking out education, you had to work at it. It just wasn't like pop open your
True.
computer or your cell phone and find a class,
True. That is so true. I hadn't thought
right?
about that.
It wasn't. When in my day, I had to be very intentional. I had to like think about, oh my goodness, my supply rep is coming in next week. What questions do I want to ask? Or do some research. I feel like that within our dental community, we are somewhat I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but we are somewhat proprietary, right? And like, oh, you can't talk to the office down the street because they might learn what we're doing
Yeah.
or something like that, right? But I would seek out fellow dental assistants. And so one of the things I did early on is I joined the Dental Assistants Association
Okay.
because I felt like that I wanted to have some peers besides who I'm in my office with, because quite frankly, I didn't even like all those people all the time. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
let's be real. There's a bunch of women together. You know what I mean? So I wanted to find out what was happening outside of my office. And so I joined my professional organization. And I was president of the Northeast Florida Association for a short time. But it was so helpful to be able to network with your peers and to talk about things that happened yesterday that they're like, oh yeah, that happened to me yesterday too. And here's what we did, or here was my struggle. What were some of the things that you did to get through this? What were the solutions that you found? In other words, to this struggle. And so by that peer-to-peer communication, you are able to learn, grow yourself professionally, and then go back and implement something that makes your life, your doctor's life, and your patient's experience so much better. Right. So
Yeah.
that was one of the main things, is to seek out education. And nowadays you can pick up your cell phone and go on social media and somebody says, hey, I'm having this webinar. Like, oh, should I plug my webinar with Viva Learning coming up in a couple of weeks, right on the 18th of September? But here's a webinar that I can go and join. I can sign up for this webinar. Some of them are free. Some of them cost $20, whatever. But you could go and seek it out. You have
Right.
to physically make an effort to seek it out.
Yeah. I was thinking, Sherry, when, way back in the Wayback Machine, when I started as well and doing CE, doctor would typically bring it to our attention what was available, or different types of trainings, or they would get the slick and the mail, the catalog,
Right.
the meetings catalog, and bring it in, and everyone would share it at the break table and talk about it. And it is literally at our fingertips now, and we can
Right.
register with our
Right.
fingertips.
Do you know the first 14 years that I was in dentistry, I had no CE, zero.
Wow.
I had none. So all the things that I learned, my doctors were not as far-sighted as yours were to bring in this content and say, hey, let's go as a group and go down to, I don't know, let's go to the Hinman and take some classes together or whatever. No, they weren't like that. And then my doctor would go off and have CE, but then they'd come back and expect me to know. I'm like, dude, you're the one who went to class. Did you bring me anything? Did you bring me a handout or
Yeah.
anything?
Take
Right.
10 minutes to show me. Take 10 minutes.
Right. Right. But they didn't. And then they get irritated because I couldn't support them at the level that they thought that they should be supported because they went to this class. And so I've been on a mission, like a serious mission for the last 20 years, to help doctors to understand that they need to have a dental assistant component. They need to come back and have a training day with their DA or whatever that would be, and encourage help, because come on, dental assistants, we get paid diddly squat. Like, the pay rate for a dental assistant is very low for all the responsibility that we have. And so I can't afford to go pay $500 or $600 to go take a class.
Yeah.
But yet my doctor, my office, they could afford to send me that,
That's
because you
right.
know what happens when that provider, that doctor, that office supports me, I feel, or they send me to this class, I feel obligated to go and learn,
Yeah.
and then more obligated to bring it back to my practice and
And do
incorporate
better, and do
it to
better,
do
because then,
better.
yeah, because then you're going to be alongside a doctor, and doctor's like, we're going to use the XYZ, and you're going
Right.
to be
And then
like,
I know what the XYZ is. How cool is that? Right?
yeah.
Like
And you
how
learn
cool is that?
together and you improve together, and it's a
Right.
it's a collaborative growth.
It's very collaborative. It's very collaborative. That right there, that collaboration with your doctor is one of the things that helps a dental assistant to feel so personally fulfilled. When you are doing a complicated high level procedure and you are firing on all cylinders and it's going well, man, you walk away from that feeling like, dadgum, we did it. We did such a great job.
Yes.
but that takes education, and that takes collaboration for those two things to happen. And so I think that those are ways, like, just if you want to grow personally, then to seek out your education and don't wait for somebody to bring it to you, because they are
Yes.
not going to.
Yes. You are the leader where you are. And regardless of your title too, Sherrie, because I know that I know the way that I call it the food chain. It's food chain is in every corporation or any
Oh,
organization.
absolutely.
But it feels like the dental assistant is, here or, here.
Oh,
It's
we're
like
bottom feeders, baby.
that's the perception, but I don't believe so. I don't
No.
believe so. So they're leaders in our practice, and each team member has such power that they bring to the day.
Oh,
And I want everyone to own their power.
I do too. That's my mission, is to own your power. I love how you phrase that. And I mean, because can the doctor work without a great dental assistant? Yeah, they can. They probably won't know where anything's at. They'll have all the dirty instruments in the room. And I've spent some time with infection control with doctors. They have no idea, none whatsoever. So they're breaking the chain of infection all the time, right? So they work alone? Yes. But how do they feel? How is the day? And I've had offices where, like, my dental assistant is out today, we have to cancel our patients. They
Yeah.
value that dental assistant that much, right? They value them. And just having the knowledge that this is so fulfilling, but you have to make it that way. You have to choose every day when you get up and, like, today I'm going to learn something new. Today I'm going to implement what I learned yesterday. Today I'm going to keep doing it for the 25 days or 21 days it takes to make a habit, right? So you
Yes.
have to choose that every single day. You
Yes.
have to, what is that? Choose life. You have to choose life every single day. You know what I mean?
Well,
Um,
it's choosing that you want something different for your life. No matter if
Absolutely.
you are trying to get back in the pants that you wanted to get back into that are size so and so, you're making a choice. Everything you put in your mouth, every activity that you make, it's a small step towards, it's small decisions that add up to that change.
Absolutely.
But Sherrie, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. I
No,
mean, I can eat a bite of a Snickers bar and feel like I've ruined my entire day, and then get right back on track the next meal. It's as
right.
long as you're in the right direction. So if you're listening to this, know that, just like Sherrie's saying, that you choose it. You choose in that next right thing, the next thing that helps define who you are going to be and how you show up, because writers didn't become writers by not writing.
Oh,
They
no,
didn't.
they did not. I watched a movie the other day on Hallmark about this woman who's writing, and they always go back to the wastebasket that's full of paper where they started writing, and then they're like, nope, that's not it, and throw it away. God bless the person who invented the backspace or delete on your keyboard.
Oh,
I'm
no
just saying,
kidding.
right? God bless that person, because it helps to you're going to make a mistake. And I people ask me this all the time. How do you know as much as you know? I'm like, girl, because I screwed it up already. You know what I mean? I have made these mistakes. I tease all the time when I'm teaching infection control classes that I should be under the OSHA jail. Like, that I should be under the basement of the OSHA jail. You know what I mean? From all the things that I did in my career that I didn't know any better. You're going to make a mistake.
You are. You
You're
are.
going
You
to, it's
all. We already are, but we're
we
not.
already are.
Yeah, but that's how you grow. And so, Sherrie, you've taken those lessons of how you've grown, and you're like, I want more people to know about the things that I've learned. And I think that that's gotten you where you are in your journey. Tell us about how you went from dental assistant to not going to CE for however many years to where you are now.
Holy cow, what a journey that's been. We don't have enough time for the whole thing. But the main thing was, I always say yes. Sometimes that gets me in trouble, I'm not gonna lie, but I always say yes. And it's funny the way I got to my I just recently retired from Heartland Dental, and my position was dental assistant training developer for that company, and I held that position with them for like 15 years.
Mhm.
And but it started with, hey, I went to this class, and I kind of knew the presenters, and I'm like, man, someday when I grow up, I want to be just like you, right? When I grow up. And they're like, well, you think you can do it? I'm like, I have no idea, but I want to try. So they let me present a small little section of something. And I was so passionate about this section that they're like, man, you want to try another section? And I'm like, yes, I do. I want to try another section.
Good.
And then so because I kept saying yes, eventually that led to, we are looking for somebody to, we're creating this position because I'm the only one or first one who held the position in the company. So we're creating this position. Are you interested? I'm like, yes, I am. And they said, you have to move to Effingham, Illinois. I'm like, okay. So I asked my husband, he says, when do we go? Right.
Oh,
But
wow.
it was because I said yes, because I said yes. And then when I first got into the position, they're like, okay, your job is to, they gave me infection control as my first project. And the direction was, you have to make it fun. I'm like, it's ocean infection control, right? It's not fun. It's not. But I was able to create things that were visually interesting and questions and activities that got people engaged in it, right? So while it wasn't fun in the real sense of cotton candy and marshmallows, it was more interesting than just the boring poke me in the eye thing, right? So that was my first challenge. And then I just kept saying yes, and I kept learning because I tell them all the time, I'm a dental assistant. I don't know how to do Word documents or PowerPoints I don't even know how to get on a video call right at this
Not
point.
yet. Not yet. You didn't?
Right. I didn't. But you know what? Now I'm a whiz. And people are like, oh my gosh, Sherrie, you got to teach me how you do these things. I'm like, okay. So I just write everything down. You know what I mean? But the point of that is I said yes. I put myself out there in very, very uncomfortable positions. The first class I taught, I threw up. Like
Did you
before,
really?
I really did, man. I was in the bathroom that morning, I was just heaving. And then it's so funny. I was teaching this class, and we're gonna run out of time, but I was teaching this class, and it was supposed to be for like 8 or 10 people. And the offices in my region started like, "Okay, you're teaching this class. We want our team members to go." I'm like, "Okay." Well, it ended up to be over 100 in
Okay,
my
that's
first
awesome.
class. Yeah.
But terrifying,
But I
probably.
was throwing up in the bathroom, you know what I mean? Because I know my content, it wasn't that, it was like, "Oh my god, what if I say something? What if I offend somebody? What if I don't say it correctly? What if I make a mistake? I'm up in the front of the room," all these kind of things. And then afterwards, the class, they, they loved it so much, they wrote me a country song and all this kind of stuff, it was so sweet. But after the class was over, I ran out of the room, and we were in this hotel, and I went to the outside by the pool wall, and I'm hiding because I'm crying hysterically because all of
Yes.
that emotion was in there. It was such an uncomfortable position. But the reason I was crying was because, oh my God, I made it. I didn't die. No,
So when
nobody.
did you snap out of it? When did you stop being scared? Like, you were in you started, was it about 10 minutes in, 5 minutes in? Curious.
Um, Actually, I want to probably say maybe 20 minutes or so, if you want to say that, because once I started talking about what my passion, like you have to be so passionate.
Yes.
If you were talking about something that you don't have a big passion for, then your anxiety will last longer because you're trying to remember all the mechanics of the words and all
That's
that kind of
right.
stuff. But when you are passionate and you feel strongly about a subject, man, that passion takes over.
Agreed.
That passion
Agreed.
takes over. And so you're no longer feeling like you want to barf off the side of the stage. You know what I mean? It gets crazy, but I still get nervous to this day. And I have been doing this for 16 years, 17 years in front of people.
I think it's part of it. And part of it's good because it makes us, because you're not alone in that. I mean, I
No,
probably get a little, I don't know if nervous, but maybe anxious or excited or whatever. It's like, like
it's
your
all the
engine's
same
revving up.
feeling in your stomach though, right? Your
Yeah.
stomach is like curling. I still get that to this day, but now it comes from, I want to be better than I was last time. I want to impact people. I want people to walk away and say, I learned this, and then I implemented this on Monday morning.
Yes.
That's
Yep.
what it's about right there. It's about
is.
taking what you learn and implementing it right away.
Yeah.
So,
Even in the smallest way, even the smallest way.
yeah,
And Sherrie, what I always tell people too is when they attend these classes, you don't have to bring everything back at once. At your
bring
next
2
team
things.
meeting, bring 2 things, introduce a little bit at a time, but talk to everybody about it and say, and they're always afraid of us when we come back from the course. They're like, oh no, here she comes back from a course. She's going to tell us all the things, but you have to share it.
Well, you have to not only share it, you have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have to do it. I did learn early on in my career that the way to get, this is a trade secret right here, folks. So, I mean, should I whisper this? But the way to get somebody to do something is to do it yourself. And then they'll be like, oh, how did you do that so easy? How did you do that so fast? How are you so efficient at that? And because then they'll start asking questions. And that does not work with your spouse or your 3-year-old. I'm just saying. But this is just like coworkers that they see you doing better. But it's kind of do it yourself. And then people will be like, oh, okay. Right? Okay. I needed to learn management skills. So I stepped out of dentistry for a couple of years and I was doing fast food. And I was working for Kentucky Fried Chicken. And one of the things that nobody wanted to do was to clean the chicken trough. That was just like a gross job, right? But it had to be done every single day. So I was the one who did it. And I went in there and I did it so quickly because I figured out efficient ways to do it. And so I'm done in about 15 minutes and everybody else is standing there for an hour. I'm like, why are you staying in there for an hour? And they're like, well, we don't know what to do. So I'm like, well, let me show you. And from then on, they would go in and do it for me. You know what I mean? It was no longer a chore that I had to do myself because I was able to empower that person with the knowledge to how to clean the chicken trough efficiently.
Yeah. But
I guess.
Yeah. And you delegated that too.
I delegated.
You gave up the power.
I gave up the power and then trusted them to do it. Right. So I think that trust and verify is a huge training tool, if you will, right? For people. So
yeah. So now you're teaching on infection control and water lines, and tell people what you're doing and how they can find you too.
Well, you can always reach out to me, sherrie.busby@yahoo.com. And so you can reach out to me via email. I get questions all the time, like just random questions that I get. Like I said, I'm just doing this webinar on the 18th of September for Viva Learning. I'm really excited about that. And I'll be in Chicago at Chicago Midwinter, and I've got a couple of classes I'm doing there. And this is my first year in 2026. I've been invited to go to the Chicago Dental Association's meeting in Anaheim in May.
That's
so
amazing.
I'll be there. We have a local Dental Assistants Association meeting in Daytona Beach at the end of January. So there's other things that I'm doing. I'm trying to learn social media. I don't do that very well, but Dental Assistant Connection is my social media, and Facebook.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like people can find you. They can They can email you, reach out. They can find you at a seminar if they go to one. And thank you, Sherrie, for everything that you're doing every day and the message that you're spreading and the kindness that you're spreading and to show people that they can do it.
Absolutely.
Anything that you want to do, if you can hold it in your hand, you can do it. I mean, if you hold it in your heart, you can hold it in your hand and you can do it.
Absolutely. It's a mindset.
It really is. It really is. Well, thank you so much for being on today. It's so good to spend time with you when we're not running around dental meetings. So thank you. To the audience, you know how much I appreciate you. I always ask the favor for you to go on to Apple Podcasts to give the Dental Handoff a 5-star rating. Go ahead and give it 5 stars right now. Go on over, go do it. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel so you're notified when new episodes drop. And the algorithm also recommends us to people you love and you care about. But until next time, my friends, thank you for all that you do to touch the lives of your patients. And we will see you next week. Thank you again, Sherrie.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.